Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here. Today, I'm going to talk about 30 years relationship between Illy Café and coffee growers. My presentation will be divided into 3 parts. I will analyze how world trends have moved towards commodities, how specialty market can still be an opportunity, and how Illy Café remains loyal to its strategy. Great changes are affecting the markets, and coffee market actually is already seeing the effects of globalization. If quality is conceived as a specified way, as a way to satisfy a specific market, then it is possible to shift from commodity to the specialty sector. But we do think that it's not so easy. Indeed, Illy Café is trying very hard, and it's always searching for high-quality coffee. So globalization invests all sectors. I'll give you a few examples. In the chemical industry, everybody thought that the big player was going to be Syngenta, but at the beginning of this year, Syngenta was acquired by ChemChina. And also everybody thought that Monsanto was aiming at being the leader in seeds, and Bayer the leading company in agrochemicals. And instead, what happened is that they merged into one huge company. Some time before, Dow Agrochemicals and DuPont already joined together. And the result of this is that 59% of the seeds market is protected by patents, and 64% of agrochemicals are actually in the hands of 3 main companies. And do you know what this means? Well, just think that with 30% of the market share, a company becomes price maker and quantitative taker. So growers can actually have a say on quantities, on volumes, but it's companies who actually decide on prices. If we have a look at the beer market, things are not different. Anheuser-Busch InBev recently acquired SIB Miller. The new company, the fusion of these 2 companies, is AB InBev SIB Miller, which produces 1 out of every 3 beers worldwide, and owns more than 400 individual beer labels with a global market share of 30%. So if you have a look at the graph over there, If you have a look at the graph over there, you can see that there are 10 companies who hold the majority of the market share, in the beer market share, and the rest is made up of a bunch of disorganized microbrewers. And what do you think the next step will be? Well, as soon as one of those small microbrewers will grow, a big company will actually acquire it. And what happens in the coffee market? Something similar, which would actually leave Illy Café in a bad position if history wouldn't teach us that quality was and still is a winning strategy. JDE was formed in July 2015 through the merger of Jabs, D Master Blender, 1753, and Mondelez International Coffee Business. This is the 2nd largest global player in coffee, with 16% market share. The first player is actually, as everybody knows, Nestlé, with almost 23% of market share. So which is the coffee market scenario? We estimate that 60% of the coffee is commodity. We identify almost 15% as specialty, and what happens with the remaining 25–30%? Well, if players are well structured, coffee can be part of the specialty sector, but if they are fragmented and disorganized, there is a big risk that they are absorbed by the commodity market. And going back to the beer industry, Well, we see that there are many similarities between micro-roasters and microbrewers, not just in the way that they grew up and they developed, but also in the way some of them are actually ending. Indeed, in the US market, for instance, some highly successful artisan brewers have already sold themselves to big groups. And in the coffee market, again in the US market, we see that in 2015, Peet's Coffee and Tea, which is part of the Job Holding Company, has acquired two well-known US micro-roasters, that it's Intelligentsia and Stumptown. And if you have a look over there, you see what Rabobank is saying. Big coffee sees further upside in smaller regional roasters. In coffee, like beer, small is beautiful. And let's talk now about Illy Café. If coffee has an objective quality, well, we believe results are there and consumers protect their market. Illy Café is a small family company compared to the companies I mentioned before, but it still has a huge potential. It can offer constant quality and increasing volumes. And as I was saying, if quality is objective, well, the market is stable and can grow in a stable way. Instead, if quality is ephemeral, well, that kind of coffee will be fashionable only for a while. And real quality is not just a matter of a marketing phenomenon. We believe it consists in specific actions which assure and guarantee quality from the farm to the cup. And how is this possible? Well, we have always believed that it's possible thanks to an integrated supply chain, which is based on four main pillars: select and motivate the growers, transfer knowledge, do direct purchasing, and build an Illy community. And Illy is not doing this since yesterday. It has been doing it since the 1980s. I'll go a little bit deeper in these four pillars. Illy Café recognizes and awards the quality of coffee through several initiatives. It started in 1991 in Brazil with the Brazilian Award. This year we have celebrated the 25th edition of the Brazilian Award, an award which consists in a competition among coffee growers, and since 1991, more than 10,000 coffee growers took part to this award. It has been such a success that this year Illy Café decided to turn international this award and founded the Ernesto Illy International Coffee Award, which was launched last week on the 1st of November in New York at the United Nations premises. The award has the objective of motivating the growers to produce the best quality of coffee, to create a connection between growers and consumers, and to promote and communicate to consumers the Illy heritage of social sustainability connected to quality. Here you go, a few images of what happened last week in New York. Illy Café identified, I want to go back, step back. Illy Café is a blend made up of different Arabicas sourced from all over the world. For this award, Illy Café identified 9 main origins, and from each origin, it selected and identified the 3 most representative coffees. During the award, the first step was to select the most representative coffee of each single origin. And after that, an external jury, a jury made up of international chefs and international coffee experts, identified which was the best of the best. This year, the best of the best was one of Ethiopian coffees we buy. And here you have the winner. As I was saying,
bueno, yo me dedico a cultivar café. Es un sueño desde poner las semillas en la tierra, creer que van a germinar. Yo diría que la lección más importante que yo he tenido de mi padre es creer, soñar.
El trabajo del café es un trabajo artesanal, porque todo lo que se hace con amor y con dedicación sale bien.
Into the cherry, into the bean, into the roasting, all those hands are in a chain. And if one person misses one step, the final drink that consumer is drinking is a wrong drink.
On October the 1st, the world celebrates International Coffee Day. A day that wouldn't exist without the valuable work of thousands of people, coffee growers. That's why we asked all coffee lovers to help thank them in the best possible way. For the very first time, people were invited to express their gratitude to coffee growers via a short thank you post with the hashtag #ThanksForTheCoffee, or with a message in one of Illy's flagship stores around the world. In a few days, we collected thousands of touching texts, sketches, and pictures to be delivered by Illy directly into their hands, one by one.
Sorry, I didn't have the time to introduce the video. Just wanted to say that the award was also a way to reduce the distances, as we say. That means we make sure that the growing countries, actually, the producers, can get closer to the consumers. And this was a first project we actually launched to make this start. Going back to the 4 pillars of the integrated supply chain we believe in, I was saying that the second point was sharing knowledge. Actually, sharing knowledge, we believe it's the first action towards quality. How do we obtain that? We have founded in the year 2000 the University of Coffee in collaboration with PENSA, the Agribusiness Intelligence Center of the University of Sao Paulo, which helps us to develop several different activities in order to promote this sharing knowledge. We do several different activities such as online courses, tackling any kind of aspects regarding the coffee production, agrochemical risk assessment, climate change, family succession, wastewater treatment, biodiversity, and so on, webinars, videos, which are very short and straightforward videos, especially addressed to small growers who have maybe low educational levels. And we do also constant research and promotion on best agricultural practices. Since 2010, more than 1,000 coffee growers took part to our educational programs. After deciding to tackle this aspect of sharing knowledge, to do it through the University of Coffee, our next step is to try to shift, to spread these activities, not just in our main consolidated origin, which is Brazil, but also in other countries. So we would like to be as present in Central America as we are now in Brazil. And sharing knowledge is fundamental also of our foundation, the Ernesto Illy Foundation, who promotes, since the year 2011, the master degree in coffee economics and science. It's the first master that's entirely dedicated to coffee. Since the year 2011, when the first edition was actually launched, more than 152 students took part to this degree. And if sharing knowledge is the strategy, the instrument for us is traceability, which is a sine qua non condition for our supply chain. Traceability, which is expressed through direct approach and through by paying the growers higher than market price. And then finally, Illy Café believes in the creation of a club, of an Illy community, which involves long-lasting relationship with all our partners. In Brazil, again, we have another example of how this community has actually built during the years. The community in Brazil consists of the participation of all the coffee growers who sell to us. Depending on how long they've been selling us the coffee, they belong to several different categories, and each category has special benefits. So Illy Café operates in a complex network, which sees all the partners involved very well connected one to the other. And this system generates knowledge, relations, business, and above all, value. So our supply chain is not made up just of few growers, institutions, exporters, but it's made also by another big group on the other side of the world, and we are in the middle. And all I've been saying up to now is what we mean for sustainability. But first of all, for us, sustainability means responsibility. We don't pretend sustainability, we actually look and work for it. And we have asked a third party, DNVGL, to actually certify all this way of operating, thanks to a certification called the Responsible Supply Chain Process. Responsible, again, because we believe that responsibility is at the base of sustainability. And we also believe that sustainability implies ethics. We actually have been nominated as one of the world's most ethical companies for the third consecutive year. We are the only Italian enterprise and the only coffee company that has been selected and included in this list, which has been identified by Etisphere Institute. So the point for us is that sustainability stays on the side of specialty and not on the side of commodity coffee. And now you have to choose on which side you prefer to stay. The responsibility of sustainability is ours. That means that we actually assume the responsibility of this entire integrated supply chain. And we have been asked to be certified on this. But we also believe that sustainability and responsibility, and especially responsibility, is also yours. Because in your coffee farms, you are the ones who actually decide. Thank you very much.